very supportive of the Russians, and we don't know what they are feeling, but it's not a homogenous experience or viewpoint that people have. But certainly people living there, we're still hearing reports of very, very difficult living conditions, not enough food, not enough water, although of course the Russians would counter that and they would say they are trying to bring in aid. They've said they're trying to... The picture is still quite difficult.
And what's the Russian strategy here? Because a couple of weeks ago, President Putin was telling his troops they didn't need to storm the steelworks, that they just needed to... I couldn't get through. But the bombardment's continuing. Why do you think that is the case?
It does. It seems quite confusing, doesn't it? We had the initial plan we had, to kind of run through the sequence. The initial plan was they're going to storm it and take it. Then we had this idea that they wanted to save, he was quite explicit about this, preserve the lives of Russian soldiers, because storming that steelworks, let's be in no doubt, would be an incredibly bloody and costly experience. Then we've seen this ceasefire. This morning as well reports that possibly there is a further attempt to storm it, so it doesn't kind of seem a particularly consistent strategy. We don't know exactly what they're trying to achieve. Maybe they think now that they've got some civilians out of the way, the cost of doing so in terms of public perception of the kind of humanitarian cost will be lower. We really don't know.
Joe Inwood in Lviv in western Ukraine. Well, there are growing concerns that the British government scheme to host Ukrainian refugees is being exploited by abusive men trying to contact vulnerable women. A BBC investigation has found that while many Ukrainians have found safe shelter, predatory males are registering to join the scheme, which allows members of the public to host refugees. The British government says there are safety checks, including criminal. Machines are taking an ever greater role in food preparation. They sort, wash, chop and package much of the food we buy in supermarkets. Some restaurants even use robots to assemble meals. And now robot chefs can sample the fruits of their labour. Researchers at the University of Cambridge have developed a robot that can taste food and register how the flavour changes after a bite has been chewed.
Very similar to a robotic arm you would see on
Ethiopia and political incitement are to blame for loss a bit. The Costa Rican president-elect has said his new government will not ratify a region-wide treaty which would establish environmental protection
for compatriots. I do think that Russia, as a people, we are responsible for what is happening in Ukraine. We are responsible for this war. We did allow Putin to stay in power for 2 years.
This is the BBC World Service, and architecture critic Jonathan Glancy is reporting on...
Our phone will alert us with a moo, and we'll know that there is a health alert. So if they're slightly hotter than the rest of the herd, it means they're developing an infection. So we also reducing the amount of antibiotics we use on the farm by using anti-inflammatories. So if we have a cow that is going down, and cows can go sick very quickly, especially with the Jersey breed where they get calcium deficiency, and we have because we know that they're seriously ill. And it has also helped with identifying cows that are in heat. The whole management of the farm is so much information ready available at our fingertips that the management side, we have forgotten
The needs of this particular environment, because Jersey is a very special place, and farming here has its own difficulties and its own challenges. And potatoes, particularly Jersey Raws, they're quite particular and special potatoes. So I presume there's real requirements that are different from other crops that people might be growing here.
Yes, the Jersey Raw grows differently to other varieties. It's a very short season crop, so from planting to harvest in about 12 weeks, but also because of the island location, a lot of the systems that you can buy off the shelf don't really apply to Jersey Raws or the island of Jersey itself. So most of the soft